Welcome to another stage analysis video. It is Sunday the 3rd of November 2024. Lots to get through this weekend, but gonna start with the US Watchlist stocks post before getting into the more regular content, going through the market breadth and the various other bits of the weekend video. So gonna get off started with FSLR, which is First Solar. So you might have noticed on the stage analysis website over the last week, if you missed last week's video, we now have this additional panel when you come on to the stock pages at the moment, which shows the stages from the last 5 weeks. As you can see, currently we've got, obviously FSLR here is currently in stage 4. It moved into what we call 4A, like the breakdown. This was when it started to move into stage 4A. Now we can see we're attempting to spring back here. So we drop out of here and go onto stock charts briefly. You can see a daily view of this chart. You can actually see a daily view on the website as well. So if you scroll down, you see the little tick box here that says daily chart. You can knock into that, then you can actually do it from here as well. So, but I've marked up the stock charts chart, so that helps a little bit. So at the moment I've got what we call a spring attempt, so at the bottom of the range. So it did attempt to break down into stage 4, has been in stage 4 for the last 3 weeks now, but you can see it's attempting to make a spring. So this was an earnings reaction that it had here last Wednesday, so opened lower and then obviously followed through back through the day. The spring, first point of a spring to start getting interested is obviously just as it comes back through the level again. So at this point here, and then on what we call the test afterwards. So sometimes the test comes within a few days, where it runs up and comes back in, or it might drop off and test. So wherever the test forms is generally the Wyckoff entry point as such, in terms of when you get a pullback on lower volume, starts to consolidate, has a higher low test and then follows through again. So at the moment it's in an interesting spot. Potentially the second day was a test, but it may yet pull back again depending on the market conditions. It hasn't yet followed through. So with a spring, so often when we get a move lower like this, we look for a fast move higher. So you generally, if we draw a structure through here, the spring comes at the bottom of the range, we get a move into a spring, we look for a sharp move up to the top of the range and push out again. So with this, let's go back to the weekly chart on the website. You can see it's actually part of a broader group. The broader groups, so in terms of the GICS groups, they don't have a solar sub-industry. The different solar stocks come in to various different groups. So we go onto the screener briefly. You can see I made a chart list for myself with this one. So you can see we've got semiconductors, you've got electrical components and equipment, and 4 of them are in there: semiconductor materials and equipment, renewable energy. So it's a few different subgroups that they're in, a mix of industrials and technology groups there as well. And coming back onto the chart, you can see from the weekly chart, as I said, at the moment in just briefly into stage 4 here. So if it does start to break back through this level again through here as well, then that stage 4 will turn off and it'll be back into stage 3 kind of area again, and could start to improve. So turn the stages background off. Next up, we've got DELL. So this is attempting to return back towards stage 2. So they had a huge stage 2 move over the course of the last year or so, and then started to fall off. So you can see, if we again put the stages background on briefly, we had a brief dip down into stage 4, then return back to stage 3 kind of area. So if we look at this on a daily chart, come back in, you can see at the moment, obviously broke through the downtrend, started to make some higher lows, and now starting to make some higher highs, and just edging its way back through some of the overhead resistance areas here. So above the 180R level, so attempting only just edging it back towards stage 2. Could easily fail back here and come back into sort of stage 3 kind of area again, but it's attempting to recover back into 2 at the moment. So get out of this. Where are we? So If it does, we've got some significant bar ranges through here, which it still hasn't got back above yet. So still a little bit more work for that one to do at the moment. But you can see its technical attribute score started to improve. Been in a 7 to 8 range for the last 5 weeks or so here. Mental relative strength is starting to improve back above its 0 line again. Another one to look at the moment is Unity Software. I believe this might have earnings coming up in the next week. Let me go back. Where are we? Let's go on to a daily chart of this again. So you can see on the daily chart, we've got a little bit of a rounding bottom coming in. Some people's cup and handles happen after a run up. So this is the opposite. This is a cup pattern at the bottom after being in a downtrend for a while. Now we've got a tightening little structure through here. So at the moment, just a rounded base. You can see a little bit of an inverse head and shoulders pattern on the smaller pattern within that, and then it's tightened up within here. So 200-day moving average within reach here, getting closer to the Mansfield relative strength 0 line. It's got earnings coming up on the 7th. So what is it today? The 3rd. So what's that? Thursday after the close. Coming up for this, so what we're looking for is a stage 2 breakout attempt, obviously on some strong relative volume ideally. If it does make the breakout attempt, obviously if earnings are poorly received and it starts to drop back down through the 50-day moving average, then that could negate that and could start to turn back towards stage 4 again. But at the moment it's in potential stage 1 at the moment. We'll come back onto, where are we? Chart. So developing stage 1 at the moment within a much broader structure here, but you can see the old stage 1 that developed, which then failed and dropped back off into stage 4 again. So it's tempting to make a new structure at the moment. So again, stage 2 breakout level will be somewhere up through this area here in the 23 to 26 range there on the weekly chart. So around 24 to 25, you can see on the daily there. Another one of interest at the moment is GitLab. I've highlighted this a few times recently. As you can see, the tightening up on the daily chart particularly. If we come back to go to our weekly chart of this quickly, you can see the broader sort of structure that it's started to push out of. So just on the borderline of a stage 2 breakout, you see the technical attributes moved into the strong range in the last 4 weeks now. Mansfield relative strength is still below its 0 line, but you can see it's been improving. So minus 18 down to minus 7 at the moment. So approaching the 0 line here and just making a slight higher high overall. So starting to outperforming in the near term. But did have a decent stage 2 move previously, but rolled over and moved into stage 4 and started to develop a base again. So just attempting to push itself out here. Go back to the daily chart. Something of note is the contracting volatility through here. So you can see the Minervini, what they call it, the 3T pattern through there as it's contracted in. If we do the inspection on that, let's see, got what, 27% down to 14, and then the last one still pretty broad, still 9%, so not quite that tight yet. With volatility contraction patterns, gets down to like a few percent or so. So we drop down to a lower time frame on this. You can see that a little bit more clearly. So you can see the contracting volatility that it's had over the course of the last few months now. So just at the top of that pattern at the moment. So we're looking for a continuation move up here through this 57-58 area. So just attempting to push out, but not much in the way of volume yet. On the stage 2 breakout, we ideally want to see some very strong relative volume, kind of volume we saw through this area here as it started to push up back in September there. So come back to the weekly chart. I believe that was the earnings move. So we're currently above that earnings bar and just testing the stage 2 breakout level at the moment and getting closer to the Mansfield relative strength 0 line, as I noted on the weekly chart there.